Welcome to the Autism Handbook. I'm your host, Dr. Salena Justice. I'm a licensed psychologist who specializes in diagnosing and treating high-masking autistic adults, which is a fancy way of saying I work with people who are really good at seeming like they're fine until they're not. This is the handbook you never got, whether you were diagnosed last week, decades ago, or you're still in the process of figuring it out. If you've ever felt like everyone else got instructions to life and you didn't, you're in the right place. Before we get started, what I share on this podcast is meant to be informational and educational, but not clinical advice. It's always a good idea to work with your own team of providers for anything specific to you. Nothing here replaces working with a professional who actually knows you and your history. Let's get into it. Okay, so I want to ask you something. How many times have you tried to build a perfect routine, like really committed to it, set it all up, maybe even put it in your planner or made like a beautifully color-coded schedule on your computer? And it worked for a little while. And then one day something was off. You overslept by 5 minutes. Maybe you ran out of your usual breakfast. Someone called and threw off your whole morning. And instead of just adjusting and moving on, the whole routine kind of just collapsed. So you abandoned it entirely. If that sounds familiar, this episode is for you. Today we're talking about routines versus rhythms. I actually heard Dr. Tay do an episode on this, a psychologist who does incredible work with autistic kids, and I knew I needed to adapt it for you guys. I'll link her in the show notes. She presented it as a framework for families to use in the summer when kids are out of school. But the way I use this framework with my adult clients has been really impactful, so I wanted to bring it here as well. So first, let's talk about why routines feel so important for autistic brains in the first place. Structure and predictability are super regulating for a lot of autistic people. When you know what to expect, your nervous system just doesn't have to work as hard. You're not constantly scanning for what comes next or bracing for the unexpected. Routines reduce cognitive load. They make transitions easier, they create a sense of safety and control in a world that often feels pretty unpredictable. So the desire for routines makes perfect sense. The problem isn't wanting structure. The problem is what happens when the structure is too rigid. So here's what rigid routines can look like in practice. You develop the perfect morning routine. You decide you're going to get up at the exact same time every day. You're going to do every step the same way and in the same order. Same breakfast, same coffee, same sequence, same timing. You leave at the same exact time every day. Everything is accounted for. That sounds great in theory. But then one morning, maybe you hit snooze, just 5 minutes. Or you realize you're out of your specific cereal you love. Or maybe you want to stop and grab coffee on the way instead. And suddenly the whole routine is derailed. And instead of just adapting, your brain just kind of says, forget it. The routine's ruined. Why bother? This is the all or nothing kind of thought patterns that come up so frequently with autistic folks. The routine only works if it goes perfectly. And because it really can't go perfectly every single day, it just stops working altogether. So what if instead of a routine, we aimed for a rhythm? A rhythm is more like a loosely defined structure. Think of it as a set of building blocks or a framework rather than a rigid schedule. You have a general sense of flow and what to expect in your day, but you're not holding it so tightly that one deviation blows up the whole thing. So let me give you an example of what this could look like. A rigid workday routine might look like I'm going to work on a specific project from 9 to 10. I'm going to accomplish these 3 things, then move to emails from 10 to 10:30, then take a break exactly at 10:30. But what happens when an email comes in at 9:15 that needs an immediate response? Or what happens when your boss stops by and needs to talk to you about something? And what happens when the project actually takes a little bit longer than what you planned? The rigid schedule just falls apart. And then the whole day is thrown off and you don't know where to go from there. A rhythm version of the same day might look like this. I have a block of deep work time in the morning, and I protect that as much as I can. I have a block for meetings and emails. I have an afternoon where I do lighter tasks. I know what my day broadly looks like. I have my anchors, but I'm not holding the exact timing so tightly that a 5-minute interruption ruins everything. The rhythm gives you that flow. It gives you predictability, but it also has some flexibility built in so that real life can happen without taking the whole structure down with it. So here's how I think about building a rhythm instead of a routine. Start with your anchors, not your schedule. Anchors are the non-negotiables. So the things that have to happen for your day to feel productive or okay. Maybe that's just eating something in the morning. Maybe it's having some quiet time before you start work. Maybe it's a walk at some point during the day. Maybe it's a wind down before bed. You're not scheduling these to the minute. You're just identifying them. These are the things that need to be in the day, and then you kind of build loosely around them. So instead of saying, I will eat breakfast at 7:15 every morning, the rhythm version is eating something before I start work is one of my anchors, and I'll make sure that that happens. It has the same intention, but with way less rigidity, which makes it more sustainable. A rhythm gives you something to kind of return to when things go sideways. So instead of the whole structure collapsing when one thing changes, you just get back into the rhythm. The anchors are still there. The general flow is still there. The day may not have gone perfectly, but it can still be good enough. And that's a completely different relationship with structure than most autistic folks have ever been taught to have. So your takeaway from today is this. Take a look at the routines you've tried to build and maybe you've abandoned them. Ask yourself if they were too rigid. If one small deviation was enough to blow the whole thing up, that's a sign you were working with a routine when maybe you actually needed more of a rhythm. So try picking 2 or 3 anchors for your day, just the non-negotiables, and build loosely from there. You don't need the schedule to be perfect. That's all for today's episode. If anything we talked about today resonated with you and you're wondering whether working together might be a good fit, I do offer virtual therapy and formal autism assessments for adults in 43 SIPAC states. All the details are linked down in the show notes. If you want more content like this between episodes, come find me on Instagram at dr.Salena Justice. I post there pretty much daily, and it's a good place to get to know me and the work I do. You can find links to my Instagram as well as any products I may have mentioned down in the show notes as well. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe wherever you're listening, leave a review, or share it with a friend. That way we can help more people find the show. Until next time.